Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net, 10 o'clock, May 23rd, my time, Eastern Standard. So I just wanted to let you know I've turned on the bot now. It's scheduling, running. I'm going to give you a little run through of how this thing works. So it's very similar to the crypto one with a database. We have a watch list, P&L. We also have a position table as well in the Redis database. We don't worry about weighted averages or crypto risk or any of that. This is how it works. So right now we have 3 pairs that are on the watch list: Euro, Swiss franc, Euro pound, Euro Australian dollar. This one's been doing pretty good, so I'm going to show you those. All right, so this is the particular Windows console we have to watch. So first I showed you the screener yesterday, I believe. New forex bot screener, 2 time positions with Fibonacci, ROCP, order book, bid ask. So that's the name of that video. So we're using those column indicators. That's what's going on here. Plus we got the watch list, and we also have a position manager that you're probably used to. So here's a good example. Here's the Euro Australian dollar. Currently for longs we have 81% in long and 18% in short. So as you can tell, that's a long opportunity. And we also measure the ROCP. So that's been holding steady for the last 24 hours. So knowing that, I can show you the watch list. Right now, as I said, we have these 2 other position or watch pairs on a watch list. So if I go to the bottom here, see here, it generates a lot of data. So what I've added here is, as I said, it's working with Oanda. It's using a practice account for now as we're testing it. But the one that's fairly active position-wise is the Euro Australian dollar. I'll show you that positions. But as I said here, here's the price at 1.62. Our level, Fibonacci level 618 is our potential entry. So this is the call there, which we've exceeded. I'll show you that in a chart. And then we also want to do a test halfway between 618 and the 786 level, which is this figure, 1.609. But the close price is much higher than that. So when you also factor in some other pairs that we're watching here, we have, let's say, the Euro British pound, total longs at 54% and total shorts at 45.9%. So it's not very convincing compared to the Euro Australian dollar, which has a long percentage of 81.3, the short at 18.67. So when it's only down to 54, and then for the long total short, that's not very strong on the long side. So what we do is I also measure over 4 hours the rate of change percentage on hourly moves. You can clearly see we had some strength for 3 prior hours before, but the latest hour is negative. And as a result, I also track the 8-hour average as well. So if this stays positive, it will stay and remain on the watch list. Otherwise, it will get removed. So that's kind of how that works between those 2. Moving to the position log, we do checks every few minutes, I think every 2 minutes actually. So here's the typical data that we log. Rate of change at the current time, that's the latest rate of change on an hourly basis. Again, we're still using the total long percent versus short percent on the pair, and this is our target at a level one, which is the extreme high profit level or exit that we'd like to see at 1.625. So at this time here, at 5:23, 1920, we had entry, an entry for this position. The entry was at 1.62. The latest close was at 1.620. The entry 618, fib level 618. This is the price that we entered at. 618's. Yeah, that's the entry, and then 786 is what we're shooting for our first leg of the exit. We also track. Let's see here. There was another point it tracks the average ROCP as well. So that's what we're tracking in these two logs. I'll show you the charts. So when you look at the charts here, specifically I'll show you the Euro Australian. And it's a similar process as before. We have three modes. This is the price action at the watch. So oddly enough, this we caught too late, but it did track and it put the this pair on the watch list. Usually it come up like this, and this is what we're hoping for. Breaks through the 500, and then here is where the entry takes place. But you can see here we're going to get sometimes these false positives, and sometimes it may hit, may not here, and then continue with the position hitting with 6, 7, and 1, 8 as our first leg, and then hopefully we move up to level 1 here, which it historically does quite a bit. So the next mode is the entry. You can see here the entry at this point right here, which is a little high, but we did eke out a profit right here. So those are the charts. What I will say is this has been a fairly good pair to debut with because of the last, now remember this is Fibonacci over 2 days with hourly data, so the last 24 hours it's pretty well perfectly matched and triggered. All the conditions were triggered exactly the way we want, just to come out of anywhere but maintain the level at 500, which is the support level, gets set, and then it accumulates, the price gets driven up to this level 1. So that's a good example of how this thing works. The cryptos works kind of the same way. The other pairs we're going to look at are the Euro CHF. So this is the franc, the Swiss franc. Now you can see here where the problem is. Here, this is the entry level, and it's just starting to pick up hold here, but the conditions were met for both the ROCP on top of the other condition as well for, let me just see here, the other condition being the bids and the asks, or in this case calculating that there's a percentage of long and short. As I said, we're looking at the Euro and CHF. Let me see if I have that logged anywhere. Right here. So it's the same as the other one, the Euro and British pound. It's not very strong, where the long is 55% versus the short, so they do meet the conditions. But again, if you look at here over 8 hours, you can see here out of the 8 hours, 2 of them were negative, but when you average it out over the 8 hours, it's still positive. That's why it stays on the line. So there might be some form of stability being, a new support level being established here. As you can see here, that's what happened back here, where the 500 was set, and it did exactly as I said. Entered at 618, went all the way up to 718. So we may start to see that pattern again for this particular pair of the Euro CHF over the next 24 hours. But we'll see if it gaps up towards Monday, as the markets will shut down tomorrow in less than 24 hours. All right, so there's that pair. Let's check out the next pair, which is, I believe, the Euro and British Pound. So I wouldn't be surprised that will be a similar pattern. Here it's a little different. Actually, this is a nice established pair, but we missed the opportunity here because we're at the higher end, just below the level 100. But again, you can see over the last 24 hours, the price did not just, it didn't really establish at a support level at 500, the fib level at 500, but either way, there was enough momentum for it to drive through the 618, which is the entry, broke through the 786, which would have been our first leg of exit, and then it just started oscillating once it hit the level 100. So that's been a pretty good trade as well. I personally think that these are at least this one, the Euro and CHF, is a defense play, as the markets have been getting hammered with the trade war. So things kind of work, I'm hoping, but I don't want to get too excited. The difference between here and current crypto, as again on Thursday, May 23rd, a week ago when I first started up the new Kraken bot, it did establish on Saturday night a lot of good positions were put on. Lots of profit to be made that night over a 3-4 hour period, but I haven't seen that sort of type of trading conditions since last Saturday, so it's few and far between. I will say that there's been some very strong negative bearish momentum against crypto, and whenever something gets whenever something does get established in terms of strength or momentum builds in crypto, it gets wiped out because it's just the oscillation towards on the negative side or downside is so strong, as I can show you here. So these are the latest movers here, but you can clearly see it's just very little. Like if you were to trade only on the hourly basis, you do all right, but still it's so volatile. Whereas this one was on the watch list. This was on the watch list. This being Dash, Litecoin, Tezos. We're on a watch list, and you can see how quickly the percent moves. This percent change over an hour just drops very quickly, and as a result, it takes losses, tiny losses, but there's quite a bit, and that's because of the bearish momentum. So the only way I can guarantee this thing to make money is to tighten up the weighted average of the crypto, which I track here, which is currently at 0.75, and it would trade at, I believe, over 1. But the way it's looking, I have to trade when it's over 2. Now, again, I haven't shown this before, but I'll gladly do it. But if you look at the risk on log, which tracks these weighted averages, nothing has been over 2 at all. The only time it was on the 16th over 2, which was, when was it? Way back here at these levels, 2.25, 4.49, 4.98, again on the 19th, which was, I believe, last Saturday. So those trading conditions are few and far between. So right now I think it's pretty tough to trade crypto using the same methodology, but compared to forex, there seems to be some better opportunities. Not as much, but something. It's early days still in the forex, but we'll see. I thought I'd put this video together and just show you what I'm doing. All right, later.